edition of Monday Morning Radio.
Monday Morning Radio, Dean.
It's not called Monday Morning Radio, Dean. It's just called Monday Morning Radio.
I know, but we're here. And I'm Dave.
Maybe we should rename
Biondo.
Why don't we rename it Monday Morning Radio Dave? I kind of like that. It's
I like
original.
that. You know?
When people search it on the internet.
There was Super Dave.
Have you ever searched Monday Morning Radio on the internet?
I did.
It's interesting what comes up. We come up at the very top of the organic search engine.
We do.
But there are a lot of other people who sort of skirt nearby Monday Morning Radio. But so we could buy the URL Monday Morning Radio Dave and Monday Morning Radio Dean. That'd be cool. Hey, when you were a kid, did your mom or dad put your baby shoes into bronze?
Not that they kept them, but I don't remember them in bronze.
Listen, I've got my baby shoes. My first pair of baby shoes, they're in bronze. Now, do you know where they are? Do you know where they are?
Probably hanging from your rearview mirror.
I have no idea where they are. None whatsoever. But our guest this week on Monday Morning Radio is Chris Tucker, who has taken the concept of bronzing baby shoes and actually turned it into something that is a great public collectible with a lot of demand for it, and people who are better known than you and I who are participating in this. And so let's, first of all, Chris, welcome to Monday Morning Radio.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today.
The name of your company is Allstar Casts, with a S at the end, as in you cast somebody for a...
.com.
Yeah, you cast somebody for a movie role. It's All-Star Cast, or you put somebody into a cast, and then you have more than one of them. And tell our listeners who don't know you what it is that your company actually does.
We bronze athletes' hands. We can actually bronze anybody's hands. We've done several just family members and things like that. But what we're known for is our biggest one was John Elway. We put him in bronze holding a football, and it's about from the wrist down. And
so the football was bronze too?
No, the football is a regular football. So what we do is we take his hand holding the football, dunk it into wax, create a cast, and then we do it's called the lost wax process. It's been around since the ancient pharaohs and all. And so we take that process and go to bronze, and when we go to bronze we only lose about 2% of the actual size of the hand. So it's an actual casting of the person's hand. So John's is fairly large. It weighed about 44 pounds. And take the two bronzes, stick
Is that his hand or the bronze of his hand?
We also make it's a wood base, kind of like in an L shape, and then we put granite on it, and it's a beautiful collector's piece.
Well, we're going to talk about that. Because our listeners are entrepreneurs, they're inventors, they're other business owners. Tell me about the seed of this idea. What were you doing back in whatever year it was? Was he an active Bronco at the time?
Well, that's when I had actually met Ray Lee Frazier, who's the artist with me, a few years before, and I kind of knew John, and we got to talking, and I said, let's see what we can do. She was already doing some of the baseball players, but nothing had really come out with it.
What was your background at the time? What were you doing for a living when you went into hey, I got an idea. Why don't we bronze
Chris
people's
is a
hands?
man of all trades. Wait till you hear this.
Was it legal, first of all?
Mostly.
Okay, good. But the statute of limitation has run, so you can tell us in truth.
No, I've got several little businesses. None of them are real big, but they keep the food on the table and the wolves away from the doors. So
much more typical than you would think, which is that once you kind of get the entrepreneurial bug, you're probably doing 2 or 3 things that in many ways they have no logic association other than they have you in common.
Yeah.
But really, roughly, what were you doing at the time? I mean, do you have any background in art, in gallery, in athletics, in sports collectibles?
I just happened to meet her through a friend, a gentleman by the name of Charlie Metro, who used to be a baseball coach here in Colorado, and he took the Denver Bears to the championship. But
the Denver Bears, for those who are listening nationally, were the minor league AAA club for a long time in Denver before we got the Colorado Rockies.
Right. And I met Ray Lee through him, and just decided to go into another business.
And did you see it initially when you, right off the bat, when you started talking with Ray Lee, did you see this, did you say to yourself, Chris, this could be a business, or were you just thinking, hey, it would be fun to have John Elway's hand cast in bronze?
I saw this as a huge business,
Okay.
and it is. Unfortunately, the memorabilia market has taken a little bit of nosedive like everything else, but it's a huge business, and people are just in awe when they can wrap their hands around one of these stars.
Listen to that pun. They could wrap their hands around one of these stars. Or they could wrap their stars around one of these hands. Maybe that's what you meant to say, Chris.
That's
Maybe
the
we could
first time I've
attract
ever
a
said
few. What do you
that.
think about that?
Listen, now, I do have lots of questions, but one of them is, why the hand? Now, for example, why not the face?
Because it's a lot more difficult to do the face. You got to put straws up, and they don't play their sports with their face.
Okay.
They play their sports with their hands. We
So
also
if you do a soccer player, do you do the foot?
we actually have done Marcelo Balboa.
Okay.
And we did his foot. Yes.
Gosh,
Wow.
that's
Not
really
awesome.
kind of interesting. And then, tell us a little bit more about Ray Lee, because you mentioned her. But she what kind of artist is she? A sculptress?
Well, she specializes in making mannequins. She's got mannequins all around the world.
Okay.
In every major museum in the world, she has at least one mannequin. And then she's gone from there. She developed this lost wax process, and
So she rediscovered the lost wax
Yep.
process.
Yep.
And she was doing people's hands at the time?
yes, she had started doing baseball players, Harmon Killebrew, Johnny Bench.
Now, when you do this, and I recognize that she knew or you both knew John Elway, but let's just talk about generally. Right now, if we identified somebody, if you spotted somebody, let's say in NASCAR, somebody in the sporting world who you thought we could sell a lot of their hands, you go to their agent, do you negotiate some sort of a deal where maybe they get paid? Do they get paid flat? Do they get paid a share of each sale?
It just depends. Basically what happens, and there is somebody we're chasing very hard here in Denver right now.
Okay. Yeah, I can't imagine
is it-
18. I have 18 ideas though
DM.
of who it could be. 18
And,
guesses.
I'm trying very hard.
Let's see.
We've done several Rockies,
Okay.
one of which is Todd Helton. And so this person that we're trying to get right now is
In case-
friends with Todd Helton.
I say they actually were college roommates, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So in case, first of
Oh,
all,
I don't know who you're talking about.
no, we don't know
No,
who about either.
no.
Listen, I'm afraid there are people who are listening who don't know who Todd Helton is. So let me just explain that. He is a longtime first baseman for the Colorado Rockies. He was originally a draft choice. He's now been here for a long period of time. In case you're not a baseball
Yep,
fan, because
yep.
we have a lot of people who wouldn't know Todd
Right.
Helton, nationally speaking. His college friend, roommate, etc., is a professional athlete. He is known for his football prowess. We won't name Peyton Manning. We won't put that out there.
Okay, please
Okay,
don't.
We don't want to do that. We don't want to put the kibosh on that. But in general, for example, I actually have. Now, I really do. There used to be here in Colorado in Cherry Creek something called Royce Galleries.
Right.
When Royce Galleries was still existing, I believe the owner passed away, but when it still existed, he had John Elway, Leroy Neiman, the sports whatnot, did a limited edition print. Leroy Neiman signed it, John Elway signed it. I think I have something of 300 of these prints. And it's a beautiful print, and it's a nice thing. And I kind of had the sense there, in terms of how that deal worked, was that Elway either got a one-time, I think he just got a one-time royalty payment, and they get limited editions. Is that more or less the business model that you follow?
No, we unfortunately we're not big enough to where we could walk in and pay somebody huge amounts. I was very good friends with Mickey Mantle,
Okay.
and we tried to put a deal together with Mickey. Well,
He just happened. Hey, by the way, Chris just happened to say, I was very good friends with Mickey Mantle.
I saw him play.
After I was me and Dr. Martin Luther King. We were having coffee one day, and we
no,
were
that was 2 weeks.
okay.
You know,
Okay.
Chris, I got to say this about Chris,
Yeah,
because
this is pretty fascinating.
Chris is the person who stands over I-25 on Hamden Avenue with a very, very large
Interstate 25, which is the
American flag that
Right.
he got from, you fill in the blanks.
Afghanistan. It was shipped to me by a combat unit over in Afghanistan. I have been standing on the bridge since 9/11.
when. What you stand when?
I stand in the mornings every patriotic day.
So July
during the-
4th, Memorial
Okay.
Day, Veterans Day, etc. You're out there.
Any one of those days.
The people in the control room are applauding you, by the way.
Cool.
Yeah, see?
But I try and get
The
as
rest
many
of
of my
us think
friends.
you're nuts.
Thank you.
But the people in the control room are nuts
likes
too,
that.
so that's okay.
But
All
I
right.
stand there and wave my
Well,
flag.
you're to describe you as being a colorful figure, I think would be a underestimation. So you were
Large
talking to Mickey Mantle. Go ahead, pick it up from there.
And was talking about doing his hands, and his agent got in the way.
Okay.
Wanted way too much money just for us to talk to him, and so we were unable to do it, which was a real shame because within the year he died.
Now, again, I thought, who did you mention? This is going to, if I'm wrong about this, I'm going to edit this out, Jason. Was it Edmund Hillary, you said?
Yes, Sir Edmund Hillary. We
Okay,
did.
so I wasn't wrong. You can keep it in.
We did his hands quite a while ago, and it's, in my eyes, it's probably one of our prettiest pieces. It's got a white marble background on the wood, his hands with the old cuff coming out of the marble.
You make limited editions of
Yes. John Elway, we did 36 pieces.
these? They all sold, I assume?
Yep, they
There's
sold out
There's
in
a
3
secondary market for them? You see them fly
yeah,
around? Okay.
yeah.
Edmund Hillary, they all sold?
No.
Okay, so if I want to buy an Edmund Hillary set of paws, it's one paw. Is it a right hand or a left hand?
Both.
You do
it's
both?
It's holding a pickaxe.
Okay, he's holding a pickaxe. How much does that retail for? Wait, give him the Monday morning radio discount. You want to give a range out?
It
I mean,
would
if
be it would be somewhere between 20 and 30.
$20 to $30. That's a good price, David. $20 to $30 for that?
So Edmund Hillary
All right.
would be very upset with
No,
you.
this is wonderful. And what I really am, first of all, did somebody else get into this game? In other
No.
words, so you are, as far
We're
as
in it.
you know, at least in the United States.
Yes.
The name of the company, again, is Allstar Casts. You can go to allstarcast.com. You guys are doing this, in part maybe because Ray Lee has a process that is not all that replicable.
Well, people know about it, but you have to spend a lot of time putting it together, and you have to know what you're doing, because it's
Have you
not
ever
easy.
had a disaster? Have
Oh,
you
yeah.
ever had, so
Oh,
somebody
yeah.
came in, they posed, and then something happened to the
Well,
the mold?
if they pull their hand out of the wax too fast, it will actually collapse the wax around the fingers. We can, to be honest
It
with
will
you,
actually collapse the fingers. So this guy used to be a major league pitcher, but then he posed for All-Star Cast, and
some of our bronze we can actually take a legal fingerprint off of.
Okay.
That's how detailed it is.
Wow.
And it's funny
pretty
because
cool.
all these athletes, their hands are so important to them.
hey Maxwell, that would be great for a spy movie where somebody needs to get into access, and they take one of these bronze things and they take a fingerprint off and they use it to access a fingerprint button. My son Maxwell does a lot of that kind of
Oh,
spy
cool.
fiction novel stuff, so that'd be a nice little anecdote.
But what the funniest part about it is we have to shave from just above their wrists down, so they have to remove all their hair. So if they don't let Ray Lee push their hand in the wax, if they jam it down in there, they are always getting wax up on their hair. And
That's not
so
fun.
when you have to pull that wax off, that hair, it
That's
hurts.
not too happy.
And then the other part about it is Ray Lee has to make an incision with a knife down the back side so they can get their hand out easy. And anytime you've got a woman going at one of these athletes with a knife down their hand, they all get a little nervous.
Especially when they're a pitcher or a quarterback.
Right.
Have you done women's hands?
We have not done a woman yet.
Okay, so we have that as a possibility.
We'd
And
love
what
to.
about, and I'm just, since I'm a
Billie Jean
entrepreneur, no, but what about, why just sports? Why not, for example,
We're not doing
Po-
just sports.
well, politicians, presidents?
Don't go
And
there.
you could do
Don't go there.
you could do a different part of Bill Clinton. You could,
No, don't go there.
Oh, Lord.
his wrists. No, that'd be very interesting things.
Ouch.
Come on, you want to see something sell for a lot of money?
There might be only one.
No,
buyer.
But so you're not just. So who else? You said you're not just doing athletes.
We've done a lot of like family members.
I know a lot of women who'd like to put some hot wax on Bill Clinton's. Go ahead.
But we've done a woman one that was soon passing away.
Okay.
So she wanted to do her bronze for her family before she passed. So we have that. We have done a conductor holding
Smart.
his.
How long does the hand have to be in the wax for
It's
it?
very short time.
It's not very long.
No, we go. It's basically wax, water, and she does it about 7 or 8 times.
How do you market this right now?
Me,
Word of mouth.
word of mouth, begging, sending my website to everybody I know, and asking them to send it to everybody they know. And
Very, very,
Getting
very interesting.
Chris's emails are very entertaining.
Well, so what is the, but in what I guess I would describe as the preservation, body part preservation industry, are the people still do, I know that there are still people out there who will do head bronze I mean, I don't know if they call them statues, but basically they'll
Yeah.
Michael Garment.
the busts.
bust, that's
at
the word I was looking for, I'm sorry.
at
They still do.
NFL.
They still do busts and things
Oh, yeah.
along those lines. Is that a much larger industry? I mean,
No.
it's not a very
No,
large industry
it's
either.
Not, it's not big at all, and you know our hands. We got a set of hands in the Smithsonian. We've got Ted Williams. We've done his, and we've got
You could
Ralph
still-
Kiner.
Ted Williams, you could do his head still. It's
I-
still, that's what
I
I
really
can tell.
made-
It's still available, isn't it?
I had Willie Mays come to my
Didn't they
marketing class in college.
Cryogenically
Yeah.
freeze his head. You know, you could do that for hands. People could cut off their hands, and then you could. Oh, this is like an
This
Edgar
is
Allan
getting
Poe.
ugly.
No, you know what it reminds? It's like an Edgar Allan Poe story, something along
The
those
Raven?
lines. Anyway, it's a really
Go!
interesting. It's a really interesting business model, and I do think, and we can talk about it when the recording is over. But I think that there are all sorts of ways to potentially expand the marketing of this,
Oh, yeah.
and to expand, and to expand who would be interested. I think there would be, in the same way that I think there are some people who have means, who are interested in having a bronze done, a bust. I suspect you would find that there's a
Oh, yeah.
private market.
Have
for
you been
those.
down to the new Denver Museum at all?
Which one? The
The
History
one on-
Museum?
yeah, on
Yeah,
Broadway.
it's beautiful.
Isn't that beautiful?
We're charter members.
I mean, that would be a good
Yeah,
place
to do things,
plan some
absolutely.
of this stuff.
See, what we do is, and this show is so good for us right now because it's basically word of mouth, and
Right.
somebody sees a piece. Elway's hands are at the stadium.
That's
Kiner's
neat.
are at the stadium in back east, and so
Okay.
we've done an awful lot of that, and people see it, and then we've put several in
I was just going to say,
restaurants.
it gives us something, David, to aspire to. One day we'll have both of our hands around a radio microphone.
You know,
Or, I got another
actually
idea.
done that.
For my hands, they could be around David's neck. Could we do that?
I think Steve Jobs' brain would probably
All
go
right.
all of it.
Listen.
Let me just tell you one
Okay,
more quick
one
story.
more quick story.
When we first did this, 9 News did a story on us, and they actually won an Emmy for the story they did of us doing John Elway's hands. So we went right in and we bronzed Drew Soicher's hand holding a microphone. Kathy Sabins, she a huge horse rider, so holding the reins,
Uh-huh.
and a couple others there at the studio, and they showed that video also.
Awesome.
It's a neat market. You are a innovative, unconventional entrepreneur, which is what David and I love to feature. It's a pleasure having you. I guess we ought to mention one quick thing before we do let you go. You are very involved in a local Denver charity, which may be of some interest to people all around the country. The charity itself, you're involved in the local branch. It's called LODO, which is for Lower Denver. It's the Lower Denver branch of Sertoma, which stands for Service to Mankind.
Right.
And basically what it involves is there are in this country something along the lines of 50 million people with hearing health difficulties. That's what Sertoma does. You focus on sending children who have hearing difficulties or are deaf to 4 different camps.
Correct.
And if somebody feels sensitive, interested in helping out with that, you do fundraising all throughout the year. They could send you an email if they're interested in maybe making a contribution to LODO, that's L like Larry, O Oscar, D David, O Oscar, lodo.sertoma, SERTOMA, @gmail.com. Your name is Chris Tucker. If somebody would like to donate a few dollars,
We would very much appreciate it. All the money that we raise, it doesn't go to any kind of, extra things. It just goes to us having our camps. We do, like you said, 4 camps a year. Right now, we're hoping to expand to get 2 more. All the money helps us put these camps on.
And this includes all the baseballs, all the accoutrements that go with it.
All the equipment, everything, because we have to pay for all that.
Right.
So,
well, it's a great example again of entrepreneurs who give back to their communities. You don't have to be a millionaire or a billionaire to be philanthropic in spirit and in action. Yeah, that's right. And Chris doesn't qualify for either. But he is one heck of a nice guy. We'd like to hear some more tales in the future, maybe about Mickey Mantle, about some of the other people who you have had the chance to encounter, but we're going to let you go for now. Thanks for taking the time to join us on Monday Morning Radio.
Much.
David?
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
Always a pleasure with Chris.
We will be back next week with another edition of Monday Morning Radio. Until then, on behalf of Business Unconventional and David Biondo, this is Dean Rotbart. Have a great week.